I just heard that the black church wants the white church to pay them for the reparations they haven't gotten.
Ooh, them reparations. Reparations, baby.
Give me my money. We were slaves.
Pay me my money. Ooh, y'all. Y'all. Let's hear this. I'm so interested to hear the rationale.
Join us in supporting a black reparations movement
for an interfaith, multiracial meeting at the Resurrection Lutheran Church in Roxbury, Nubian Square. They're here to ask the religious community to atone for Black Boston's suffering and support Black reparations.
And we are coming, as Dr. King said.
And why is it always those small? And why is it always those small churches with the Kwanzaa Nubian background?
Stop.
You know, and that's the ones that's asking for the reparations, and the one that's saying we need to stand up like Martin Luther King. It's always them smaller churches, the ones that you pass by, and then you know that they got members when you driving by it. It's always them little small ones.
To get our check.
Organizers from the Boston People's Reparation Commission say they're also following up on their demand on the city of Boston for a $15 billion initial payout to begin the process towards repair and reconciliation to the city's black community.
$5 billion as initial payment around cash payouts, $5 billion around strengthening our financial institutions, creating a new black bank, $5 billion in terms of addressing issues of the education achievement gap between blacks and whites.
In 2022, the Boston City Council and Mayor Michelle Wu offered an official apology for the city's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade. She also launched 2 task force research teams to study Boston's role in slavery and its long impact on descendants.
So we still suffer from the trauma of those instances, and even today, dealing with racism.
On Saturday, this group called on the white church in Boston to support the black community for its association in slavery.
Today we call upon this city, its financiers, and its white churches to stop the shirking, stop the lying, tell the truth, and pay what is owed.
Organizers say the next step is to engage in conversation with white church leadership directly.
We call on.
This is going nowhere.
I just felt like this was like a blast from the past.
It felt like what? Like how many years would you say blast
I
back?
felt like I was in somebody's log cabin back in the 1800s or something. Okay, so yes, I can understand about wanting to build up the black community in that state or in the city of Boston. I get it, but do we have to tap into the reparations part? If you need funding and you want the government to help fund your community, put forth into low-performing schools, okay, I can agree to that. But take the reparations part off of it and just ask for the money you need to build up your state.
That's the truth. And it's hard for me to listen to a man that's asking for money and his glasses are crooked.
And we... and we still... and he said we still are being impacted. And I'm not saying
God, I'm so tired.
I'm not saying that
he said
racism is over. I mean, we have been through that. We have been down this road.
Racism,
yes, again. I mean, it's like it is.
Yes,
and is that something that's ever going to ever disappear?
Probably not in our
Probably
lifetime.
not. However, you mean to tell me because your city has not come up to a certain level, then you want to still continue to use the repercussions of slavery? How many years long? I mean, you know, I don't know.
Basically what they want to say, we need that money. You see this church? When we tap, the wood vibrate. Y'all see this church? We need money. Our black people are still affected. And then who is this? Who is this white guy in the front? It's like, pay us what's due. Pay you what?
From where? Who? Taxpayers' money? The same people you want the reparations from.
Listen, you got all these black people. And then he pay us what? Our reparations.
I don't know, man. I don't think.
Listen, I mean, that conversation will always be funny, bro.
They need to go about it a different way. I don't like that method. I'm sorry. I don't like that method.
Conversation is always going to be funny.
I do not like that method.
Even if they decide to come somewhere to pay everybody $250, that conversation is still. And then how they were talking about it, it just feels like they haven't been on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys, like nobody's been on the internet. Nobody's seen the updated information.
So are you trying to say that you're going to go to and find specific the direct descendants of slavery? And so what's the appropriate, how many generations down the line are we talking about?
What about, I still always wonder, like, when you talking about a check, do the people get, what about the people, most of the people that were sold by Africans, black people sold black people, what about them? So everybody wouldn't qualify for his reparation check. Like, I'm saying,
but when you go back and do the research,
but I don't want to go into that. We go in that same piece of the conversation every time we talk about reparations. But I want to say on that particular point, from their standpoint, they are, like you said, they're like a time warp. That was like, I don't know why that felt like that. That felt like that was like, this interview was like 1980, and this is something 2024. Everybody had the older look. It was an older church. It just felt like it was dated. Like they paid attention. I felt
like I was in a time warp. But so what if every culture wants reparations? Because every culture every race has been enslaved.
Other cultures, people have gotten reparations, but I don't know about in this country.
In the world.
And yeah, I think in other places people have gotten reparations in the world for. You have to pull that up.
I'm talking about in the U.S.
Negro, you just say in the world.
In the world, Craig. I'm talking about the U.S.
I'm curious to see how many people have gotten.
I remember reading something too, but I didn't dive deep into the article. And I you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to look to see exactly how the reparations were given to those other races. Slavery was a brutal, inhumane, insane practice. It really was. What does it say? Native Americans?
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It was they gave them over $105 million for illegal government seizures of their land. That was land.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, there was a culture that got reparations.
Somebody, but that wasn't the norm. That was not the norm.
Right. Okay. So I'm just curious to see how the process would be and how far back.
But my question is, why is a black church asking the white church to give them reparations?
I don't know. I just feel like it's an excuse as to why you can't go out here and get the funding that you need for whatever the issue is.
I think the argument needs to be put aside and focus on things that really can make you money. Because then, if they did cut a reparations check, all these black people, how much would you really get? You just take home your $700, and you've been fought for 30 years for $700. I'm just saying.
I just don't think that's a great way to utilize resources. Put it in something that can benefit the community.
But also, well, I guess when they're talking about that, if the current president that we have, if he wanted to give reparations, however they saw fit, they could have done it. But that reparations check went to Ukraine. So, you might need to ask the Ukrainians for a loan.
But I'm saying, okay, so if you want to holler about reparations, don't send out individualized checks for people to blow and then talk about that it wasn't enough. You need to put something in these communities where everyone can be a resource, where it can be a resource for multiple.
But apparently, I don't know. I just got the vibe of, we need this money in our community area. It's just, them old black church feeling, man. It's just like, it ain't much money going through here. It's just, I don't know. The collection plate's still metal.
Way.
And it's always some crinkly dollars in there.
Yeah, I don't like that feeling. I really don't.
We got to get out of here, man. We just start saying church from church pay, and
how could the resources be utilized for a longer period of time over, decades, over centuries? How can it be something that's put in place that's going to benefit generations and generations and generations? Because you just sending a check to people right now. Benefit it? How is that?
How will it benefit?
If it's I said benefit. How is it going to benefit on down the road? What type of change? How is this going to implement change and for progression?
Why y'all could be doing other stuff? Y'all need to be working on things for the church programs, but sitting up there and saying we got to get the reparations from the white church.
Yeah, I don't dig that. I'm sorry, I don't dig that. I don't agree with that one.
That was a waste of a news special. That was a waste of a news interview, to be honest, in my opinion.
Now, I am for developing underserved communities. I am for putting it in schools to help improve Title I schools, low schools, and what about nonprofit organizations that will help youth, development, goal setting, homework. I definitely am for that. Low income housing, families, building up those areas so they can have
for the community,
so it can flourish. I am definitely for that.
All right.
But just sending people money in the mail.
To me, that's like me being black and ask my white neighbor, you need to pay my rent. Like, well, I need to pay your rent.
So how about you build up your community with banks, malls, stores, strip malls with all type of different businesses. You want to have a whole area for blacks. I get that. So yeah, do that, and that way the money can be tripled and continue to be turned over, because
this conversation just going to go into a list of commenting of people saying, what about this slave, what about this culture? My people were Indians. That's what these conversations always tend to bring in the comment section.
Well, I mean, every culture has their own community. You go to many states and you'll have an Asian community. They have Asian stores, they got Asian markets, they have Asian supplies, beauty supplies, and all other type. I get that.
All right. 2024, be more.
Talk less.
Let's see on the next one.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. It came out at the wrong time. One more time.
This is where we laugh, learn.
Baby, this is the end.
But we didn't say it, so sometimes you got to put it in there.
I need you to be on your part. I remember
you
my
kept
parts.
you kept chumming in.
All right, 2024, be more.
Talk less.
I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
Say it with your chest.